All right, so today I want to talk about the nullish coalescing assignment operator, or the logical nullish coalescing operator, assignment operator. Now, I've already done videos before on the nullish coalescing operator, and that's the one with the 2 question marks. This is 2 question marks plus an equal sign, so slightly different, related, connected, doing the similar things, but slightly different in how they work. Now, with this one, what we're going to try to do is we want to be able to run a function like this. I've built a web page, and on this web page there's a form, and it's the same form that's being used whether the person is brand new or it's editing an existing user. And what I'm going to be using in my objects that I've created right here is, if there is an existing ID, then I know that this is actually an existing user. It's one that I'm editing. If there is no ID yet, the ID gets created on the server side with the database and so on. So if there's no ID, it means, oh, I'm creating something that's brand new. I've read the data from the form, I've put it into this object with these 2 properties, but I don't have an ID yet. So I want to be able to use the same function here, save a user, pass in my user object with the data, and then only create the ID if it's actually needed. So if it's actually needed, then I will create that ID. So before we jump into this, a couple of notes. One, nullish. What does nullish mean? Well, in JavaScript, nullish refers to something that is null or undefined. So both of them can be looked at as being void, being empty, having no value. The difference between them is undefined is a special type of value in JavaScript, usually reserved for, hey, I've declared a variable, but I haven't assigned a value to it yet. So it exists as a variable, but nothing's been put into it. Null, more often, is I've got a variable or I've got a property, and I've intentionally said that I want to leave it empty. So I've assigned the value null to it. So both of those, hey, I've got no value, it's null-ish. So nullish coalescing assignment operator means I'm going to look at a variable here. So I'm going to take my user object that I'm passing in here, and I want to update user ID, but I only want to update user ID if we don't have something. So here's the original, just the nullish coalescing operator with this. So I'm going to say, okay, let's look at user ID, and then this is going to say, is this a nullish value? If it is a nullish value, meaning undefined or null, then run this, and then this becomes the value that gets assigned into here. So that is the nullish coalescing operator. The other one, the new one that we're going to be talking about now, is the nullish coalescing assignment operator, where we can say, I want to take user ID, and we're basically creating an ID property inside of here. But instead of doing this, where I have to write the both parts out, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to say only assign if user ID is nullish. So we'll do our crypto.randomuid. So I'm going to do that, but this is only going to run if this value over here that we're assigning into, if it doesn't have a value currently, basically is what we're saying. So if user.id does not currently have a value, or does not exist, so there is no ID property inside of user, or there is one but it's null, or there is one and it's undefined. In any of those cases, that's when I want to assign it. So I will console log my user at this point to see what I've got. All right, so let's call this function, save a user, and I will pass in both my objects here. So my one user that doesn't have an ID, one that does. I'm going to call my function twice. We'll see what our user is going to get. So here we go, the brand new user, that one, we have created a brand new user ID. But the one that already existed that had this specific ID still has that specific ID. So we haven't overwritten the old value. with a new one. We've said, no, it's there. I don't have to assign anything to it. And that is the nullish coalescing assignment operator. Got any questions? Feel free to leave those in the comments. If you want a copy of this code, also in the description. One final note I just remembered to mention here. It's in the comments, but I wanted to point this out. If you're running this in the browser, the crypto object exists on the window object. You do not have to import it or require it. If you're running this in Node, you have to explicitly say, hey, I would like the crypto module, so please give me that so I can run this random UUID method to get the ID generated. All right. And as always, thanks for watching.